November 11th, 1994. New York City. A quiet but intense auction is underway. Sitting inside that room are some of the wealthiest collectors on Earth, all competing for a 500-year-old handwritten book. At that moment, nobody fully realizes they're about to witness history. One bidder isn't even in the room. He's on the phone. Calm, determined, ready to pay whatever it takes. When the final hammer drops, he wins. The price? $30.8 million. That bidder was Bill Gates, and the book he bought was called the Codex Leicester. Now here's the part that makes you pause. This wasn't a massive encyclopedia. It wasn't a golden manuscript covered in jewels. It was just 72 pages long, handwritten, 500 years old, and written completely in mirror script, from right to left. So what made this notebook worth nearly $31 million? Why would one of the richest men in the world want it so badly? To answer that, we have to step into the life of the man who wrote it. A man who, even after 5 centuries, still feels like a mystery. A genius. Maybe something more. His mother gave birth to him, but she didn't raise him. The father who raised him didn't give him his last name. He wasn't allowed to attend formal school. At one point, he disappeared for 2 full years without explanation. And when he returned, he wasn't just an artist anymore. He was a painter, an engineer, an architect, a scientist, an inventor, a philosopher, a man who could write with one hand while drawing with the other. Some people even wonder if those missing 2 years changed him in ways we can't explain. Did he encounter something extraordinary? Something not of this world? 500 years ago, long before airplanes, helicopters, or even basic modern machinery, he was sketching practical flying machines, parachutes, gliders, and advanced weapons. He painted one of the most recognizable faces in history, the Mona Lisa, with that mysterious smile people are still trying to decode. Yes, we're talking about Leonardo da Vinci. But before he became the symbol of genius, he was just a child, born on April 15th, 1452, in a small Italian village. His mother, Caterina, was a peasant woman. She was unmarried, which meant she couldn't publicly claim him as her son. In that time, illegitimate children were often abandoned or ignored. Fortunately, Leonardo's biological father, a respected lawyer and notary, took responsibility for him and named him Leonardo. But he didn't give him his family surname. Back then, children born outside marriage didn't carry the father's name. Instead, Leonardo became known by his birthplace. Vinci was the name of the village. So, Leonardo da Vinci simply meant Leonardo from Vinci. Because of his birth status, Leonardo wasn't allowed to attend formal school like other children. But that didn't stop him from learning. His father's younger brother, who loved him deeply and had a strong curiosity about nature, taught him basic reading, writing, and math. That influence mattered. Instead of classrooms, Leonardo turned the world into his school. As a boy, he spent hours observing plants, studying animals, watching birds glide through the sky. He didn't just look at things. He analyzed them. He sketched them. He tried to understand how everything worked. At 14 years old, in 1466, his father recognized his talent and sent him to Florence to apprentice under Andrea del Verrocchio, one of the most respected artists and sculptors of the time. There, Leonardo trained for 10 years. He didn't just learn painting, he learned sculpture, metalwork, mechanics, and design. And then came a defining moment. As he was finishing his training, Verrocchio gave him one final assignment: paint an angel in a larger work called The Baptism of Christ. According to legend, Leonardo painted the angel so beautifully, so delicately, that when Verrocchio saw it, he was stunned. Some say he vowed never to paint again after witnessing his student's talent. By 1476, Leonardo was working independently in Florence, but his life took a dramatic turn. He was frequently seen with a 17-year-old male model named Jacopo Saltarelli, who was also known as a male escort. Because of this, Leonardo was accused of engaging in homosexual relationships. Now, understand something. At that time in Florence, homosexuality was considered a serious crime. If convicted, punishment could mean exile, even death. Leonardo was arrested and held in custody for several weeks. Ultimately, he was acquitted, likely due to his father's influence and his political connections. Historians still debate his sexuality. He never married. There are no records of romantic relationships with women. His notebooks reveal an intense fascination with the male body. Some believe that, fearing society's judgment, he kept his private life hidden. But those accusations left a mark. After that scandal, Leonardo withdrew from public life. Then something even stranger happened. For 2 entire years, he vanished. There are no clear records explaining where he went, no detailed notes, no documented projects. It's as if those pages were torn straight out of his life story. And when he returned, he wasn't the same. His thinking had evolved, his perspective had deepened. It was as if his mind had expanded in ways that stunned the world. He was no longer just a brilliant artist, he had become something else entirely. And that transformation would change history forever. When Leonardo reappeared after those 2 mysterious years, it was like watching someone unlock a higher level of consciousness. He wasn't just painting anymore. He was dissecting reality itself. Now, he was an engineer, architect, scientist, inventor, philosopher, a true polymath. He could write with one hand while sketching with the other. And instead of writing normally, he began filling his notebooks in mirror script from right to left. You needed a mirror to read his thoughts. Why did he do that? Was he protecting his ideas? Hiding them? Or was his brain simply wired differently? From that point on, Leonardo didn't just observe nature, he studied it with surgical precision. And speaking of surgery, he literally performed it. In his own notebooks, Leonardo wrote that he dissected more than 30 human corpses to understand the structure of the human body. Think about that. 500 years ago, without modern tools, without anesthesia, without advanced medical knowledge, he carefully examined muscles, bones, nerves, and organs. He created over 240 detailed anatomical drawings and wrote around 13,000 words describing what he discovered. The accuracy of his sketches is so astonishing that modern scientists have compared them to contemporary medical illustrations, and they almost perfectly match. And remember, this was centuries before X-rays even existed. He drew the digestive system, the reproductive system, the intricate layering of muscles responsible for facial expressions. When he painted a smile, he wasn't just thinking about color or light. He was thinking about which specific muscles contract to create joy or sadness. And that brings us to the Mona Lisa, that smile, that gaze. For over 500 years, people have debated what she's feeling. Happy? Sad? Secretive? Leonardo used brushes finer than a strand of hair. He mastered a technique called sfumato, blending tones so smoothly that there are no harsh lines, just a smoky transition between light and shadow. He created optical illusions that give her eyes depth. Many viewers swear her eyes follow them around the room. And in an era without modern technology, blending art and science like this was nothing short of revolutionary. It took him 14 years to complete the Mona Lisa. 14. And even today, despite countless scientific analyses, high-resolution scans, and modern studies, the painting still holds mysteries we can't fully explain. Another masterpiece, The Last Supper, showcases something equally incredible. Each disciple's facial expression, posture, and gesture captures a different emotional reaction. Shock, doubt, anger, confusion. Leonardo didn't just paint a scene, he painted psychology. But here's where things get even more intriguing. Some researchers claim that when certain paintings of his are digitally overlapped, hidden patterns and codes emerge. A few even speculate these might hint at something beyond ordinary human knowledge, perhaps even contact with an advanced civilization. Now, whether that's imagination or coincidence, one thing is undeniable. Leonardo's mind operated centuries ahead of his time. In the 1500s, he was sketching flying machines, not vague ideas, detailed mechanical designs. He studied birds obsessively, analyzing their wing movements frame by frame, long before slow-motion cameras existed. He designed flapping wing machines, gliders, and even a helicopter-like device with a spiraling rotor. The first helicopter officially flew in 1940. Leonardo had already drawn the concept 500 years earlier. He even designed a parachute. And this wasn't just theory. On June 26, 2000, a man named Adrian Nicholas built a parachute based exactly on Leonardo's sketches. Without modern safety modifications, he jumped from 10,000 feet and landed safely. Let that sink in. Leonardo also drew maps that looked like satellite images. Around 500 years ago, he created an aerial-style map of Italy, drawn from above. But there were no planes, no drones, no satellites. How did he achieve that perspective with such accuracy? Some say extraordinary observation skills. Others wonder if it was something more. During times of war in Italy, Leonardo worked for military leaders. He designed armored vehicles that resemble modern tanks, covered like a turtle shell, with cannons pointing in all directions. He created weapon systems capable of firing multiple shots in rapid succession. He sketched fortified chariots with blades that made them nearly impossible to attack from the front or back. He even designed a diving suit, allowing humans to remain underwater for extended periods, an early concept of modern scuba gear. And yes, he drafted plans for what may have been the world's first robot. In his manuscripts, he also wrote about harnessing energy from sunlight, an early idea that resembles today's solar power. How does one man think of all this, centuries before the world is ready? In his later years, Leonardo moved to France under the patronage of King Francis I. He was given a beautiful residence and served as royal painter, engineer, and architect. But despite the honor, some of his final writings reveal sadness. He regretted not finishing many of his projects. Even the Mona Lisa, in his mind, was never truly complete. In 1519, at the age of 67, Leonardo da Vinci passed away in France. He believed deeply that knowledge is power, that everything in nature is connected, that to truly understand the world, you must observe it carefully and question it relentlessly. For him, art and science were never separate. Art, he believed, was the highest form of science because it teaches us how to truly see. And yet, the biggest mystery remains. How did his genius expand so dramatically after those missing 2 years? Was it simply the evolution of a brilliant mind? Or did something extraordinary happen during that time? Was he in contact with another world? Did he somehow glimpse the future? Or did he tap into a universal source of knowledge, something Nikola Tesla would also later speak about? We may never know. But what we do know is this. Leonardo da Vinci wasn't just ahead of his time. He redefined time. And maybe the real lesson here isn't whether he met aliens or traveled through time. Maybe the real lesson is about curiosity, about refusing to accept limits, about looking at the world and asking, why not? So now I want to ask you, what do you think? Was Leonardo simply a once-in-a-millennium genius? Or was there something more? Let me know your thoughts. And if you enjoyed diving into this mystery, stay curious, keep questioning, and keep exploring, because the world still holds secrets waiting to be discovered.